Should we talk about spiders in October? Yes, we will. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the Northwoods, talking about nature right outside our front door. And when I say front door, I mean right outside my front door. It's my back door. I have a deck, and I have a deck that has a screen door on it. And I started noticing that I had this giant web over one of the screen things. So then I got kind of scared to go out my back door. But one day I was closing the shades for my bird, and I noticed this giant spider that was like the size of the palm of my hand. I'm probably exaggerating. Zip away and go up in towards the side of the door. And I went, what was that? This is huge. So the funny thing about it is that then the next day on a local social media channel, someone else posted and said, what is this gigantic spider sitting outside my front door? And you know what? It was the same spider I just saw. And I thought, how come I've never seen this spider before? And why is it so huge? Because usually where I live, we don't have very big spiders, not like, you would get in Florida. So the idea is that in early spring, when you get spiders, you think about, like jumping spiders, crab spiders, wolf spiders. We see those active in summer. They lay eggs in early spring, and so they're itty bitty, and they're very, very tiny. But when we get into October, that's when we start noticing, hey, these spiders got kind of big, right? They get full grown in autumn time, which makes it perfect for Halloween. But most, like I said, spiders hatch in spring, tiny little spiderlings. They stay small and hidden throughout much of summer. And then they reach their impressive adult size late in summer and in fall. And then suddenly in October, we're like, holy cats, big spider. And that's why they're at their peak of visibility. It's also crunch time. The females are laying egg sacs, and oftentimes in the corner, on bark and eaves, places, on screen doors. The males are usually smaller and wandering around more openly in search of a mate. And so that's oftentimes why you find them in houses and barns and garages this time of year. I have all these Ring doorbells in my house, and now I'm just getting all these messages that say, oh, there's someone in your garage. It's a spider. Oh, there's someone in your back deck. It's a spider. Anyway, that's what happens. So in this particular case, I had what was called an orb weaver spider. It's a garden spider. It's very common here. I just have never seen it any time in my life. But, we have other garden spiders, barn spiders. Most of the cases, they live only a single season, and the frost, is what takes them out. But they leave their egg sacs behind for next year. This fall spider then kind of gives them some, a dramatic moment where they're building up for this purpose of reproduction right before winter time comes. In October, oftentimes, we will see that that our yards and trees and all these things are full of dew covered webs. I was mowing my lawn a couple weeks ago, and I saw a ton of webs out in my yard, and those were the spiders that are grass spiders that were trying to build a nest, get some food together, and that dew suddenly makes their invisible webs visible, which is kind of cool in the sense. They are in the yard, they're called funnel weaver webs, and there seem to, like I said, bloom across lawns primarily in fall, and primarily we see them because the dew in the morning highlights them. In the fall times, the temperature drops and insects tend to move, into buildings or closer to buildings towards warmth. That's true for spiders too. And so then we start seeing cobwebs, like I said, on the patio doors, in the basements, in the garage. And suddenly it seems like more and more spiders are indoors when they're in October, not invading. They're just looking for something a little bit warm, and maybe they were there all along. The idea is that these spiders are, trying to do their spider thing, which means, like I said, they're going to reproduce and leave eggs for the next cycle. So the idea is, in my case, I had what was called an orb weaver spider, and it hatches, like I said, like other spiders do. But what they do is they create this web. So every night they rebuild. See, I'm getting itchy because I talk about spiders. They rebuild the entire web every night. They recycle that silk by eating the old one, and then they build their whole nest again. And so in the morning, you might see a brand new web, again, with dew on it and strung across like patio doors, deck railing. So in my case, when I saw this spider, it was getting to be close to dusk. She was building the brand new nest for the night, and it was going across my entire screen door of my patio. And when I was closing the shades, saw the movement, took off and went into hiding, because didn't want to get caught. So in my case, this is called the cross orb weaver. They're plump. They have a cross pattern on their back, and a lot of times they're sort of orange or silver on their back. And they're very tolerant of hanging out near humans. So like I said, that they are going to put these webs in every night, and they're looking for moths, gnats, night flyers that are drawn to the porch because I have a porch light. So it attracts a bunch of bugs, and they go into the web. So it's a good cash haul in for those spiders. They have this nightly buffet. They are non-threatening. They are harmless to people. And like I said, if you get too close to them, they will retreat, and try to hide. In a particular case, I noticed that they were hiding sort of in this seam that came with my patio door. So he found a little nook to be in there. So it's not a danger spider at all. Like I said, it's an engineering marvel. They have about 30 radial spokes from the center and about 20 to 30 spirals that is made with sticky silk inside. The geometry was amazing. Like I said, it is an orb. It makes that really good spider pattern that you like to see right before Halloween. And then it shows that we can then see the patterns of it. There's all sorts of folklores about like fairy ladders and witches' laces. It's all spider webs. Think about Charlotte's Web, right, by E.B. White. The orb weaver was one of the most beloved spiders in all of literary history. And so October, she's shining, and she's shining right there on my deck door. It's one of those things, like I said, it's good because it controls other bugs. It catches mosquitoes and flies and moths, and it acts as a natural way of pest management. Birds, wasps, and other predators rely on spiders, eating them, as protein-rich food sources. And so the idea is that their brief visible life in fall can sort of remind us about the circle of birth and growth and beauty before their ultimate passing. But I wanted to do kind of a review of this spider because, like I said, I had never seen the spider before. And now that I have, I'm really interested. And it's interesting to me that the first time I see the spider, everyone starts writing about it on Nextdoor. So was it that it's just a bumper year for orb spiders? Maybe. But I really enjoy, now knowing there's a lot more to this spider than that meets the eye. I think this perfect circular wheel-shaped geometry lesson strung across my deck now is more interesting me than ever because I know now a little bit more about it. And so I hope that you also, learn a little bit more about it as well. But like I said, there's a lot of spiders out there. There's garden spiders, which are yellow and black. They're really showstoppers. They are called also writing spiders because they put zigzag signatures in the middle of their webs. So like I said, with that bright yellow striping that they have on them, they almost look tropical when we're up here in the North Woods. But the Gordon spiders are also harmless. They're not big enough to hurt us, but, big enough so we can see them. There's barn spiders. Those are the fans, like I said, of Charlotte's Web. You might notice those. They're the ones that are the brownish orb weavers that are found in barns, sheds, garages, that kind of thing. And then there's funnel weaver spiders. Those are going to be the grass spiders. And they are sort of making this white sheet that goes across grass. And they wait for someone to just walk by and end up in their web. They make this horizontal mat of silk, and then they dart out of their funnel hideaway when an insect stumbles across it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Wolf spiders, those are the ones I usually see the most of. The wolf spiders are hunters of bugs, not us. They roam at night. Their eyes can shine green if you flash a light at them. And the females will actually carry the eggs attached to their spinneret, so they actually carry their eggs. And then eventually they get these little spiderlings on their backs in equal parts, which is kind of creepy, but kind of cool too, right? Nature can be creepy and cool all at the same time. But wolf spiders are the ones that you see, I think, most of the time. Even in my grandmother, who lived in an apartment building in a big city, she had wolf spiders and jumping spiders. The jumping spiders are little tiny guys. I always liked them because they boing, they kind of boing, boing around, and they build webs and they catch prey and they pounce, kind of like cats, on their prey. They kind of have oversized eyes, which sort of make them look curious, and they like to tilt their head like cats a little bit. So you'll often see those put on social media and people posting videos of these jumping spiders around. My grandmother also had them in her apartment building, and I have them here as well. But a lot of times you'll see them sort of basking on sunny porches and on rails, kind of soaking up the last of sun. So this is the time. Like I said, if you're going to see spiders, this is the time. And it's also good for Halloween, too. October is going to be their last hurrah, their chance to reproduce. Frost is coming, so they're going to put those egg sacs around, and then they'll wait to hatch in spring. I have to say that a lot of people get kind of freaked out about spiders in their houses, but I have to tell you, I kind of like them. They eat other bugs. Sometimes you get like a closet moss and things like that. Spiders are all there. Seed moss, like you sort of, I have a bird, so I have seed. They're all about it. So me and spiders, as long as they stay away from my bed and places I am, we've made a peace, and I just let them be. That dude in my garage, he can just do what he wants. The one that's setting off the Ring doorbell in my basement, that's fine too. I don't mind it at all. So why don't you take a look at the spiders you see around you right now? Are you seeing more spiders? Are you seeing bigger spiders? This is a chance for you to get out there and kind of see about your spider friends. Now, some places do have poisonous spiders. Make sure that you know what kind of spiders you have, and just give them a little space. They don't like to be scared away, and they don't like to be touched, but you can observe them and give them a little bit of distance. I even when I was camping, I had something in my shower, and it was kind of weird because it looked like it was reaching out, which was freaking me out. So it's a spider standing on its back legs and his little arms are coming out. Those are called fisher spiders. And what they're doing is they're trying to reach out to grab, hoping that a fly or a moth or something that goes by, you can grab them. So they're cool too. But this is your chance to go out there and see spiders. All right, everyone, thanks so much. I appreciate you watching and listening to. Sometimes we just have to do creepy episodes, right? Tell me in the chat below what kind of spiders you've seen, or you can email me at Jill@startwithsmallsteps. I'd love to hear about your spider experiences, or if you have other topics you'd like to talk about. Thanks so much and have a great day.